staying in the loop, it really shouldn't feel like a second job, should it?
No, definitely not.
You want the crucial updates without drowning in all the noise.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what we try to do here on the deep dive. We, sift through the information so you don't have to.
Right. And today, we're zooming in on Montreal and the surrounding areas. We're looking specifically at February using these Infodrone publications.
Yeah.
They offer a really interesting kind of data-driven view on what's actually been happening across the city.
Exactly. And these Infodrone reports, they cover a surprisingly wide range, don't they? I mean, everything from how our physical city is changing.
Urban development, yeah.
And the push for greener spaces to what's happening in real estate and then culture, education. It's all in there.
It's quite comprehensive.
So think of this as your shortcut, maybe, to a smarter take on Montreal right now, our mission. Well, it's to pull out the key insights from these reports and, talk about what they really mean for the city and for you.
Sounds good.
Okay, so let's get into it. What stood out to you right off the bat?
Well, what's immediately clear is this focus on evolving public spaces. It really signals a thoughtful consideration for how people actually use the city.
How they interact, yeah. Tell me more about that.
Well, okay, take Place du Sable Gris in Little Burgundy. People call it Bergs, apparently.
Right.
What's fascinating is how it started. It wasn't some, huge master plan. Way back in 2019, the Ville-Marie borough just decided to permanently close a street. Simple move.
Uh-huh.
And now it's become this really vital public spot for the whole neighborhood. Kind of makes you wonder, how many other streets or forgotten corners could be transformed like that.
That's a great point. It's almost like these spaces grow kind of organically based on what the community actually needs.
Exactly.
And then further east, you mentioned Tetrailville. There's a plan for a totally new public square there.
Yes. And that one sounds like a more deliberate investment.
Yeah.
The plans detail, urban furniture benches, tables, that kind of thing. Essential for making it usable. Plus, water jets, misters.
Oh, nice for summer.
Definitely welcome in July and August here. And importantly, greenery. Lots of plants and trees.
Right.
Construction is supposed to start in spring 2025, aiming for completion by September 2025. That's in Mercier, Hochelaga, Maisonneuve.
Right.
It feels like a real commitment.
Yeah, that timeline seems pretty concrete. It's interesting, these different paths, one evolving, one planned. And it's not just creating new spaces, right?
Yeah.
We're also seeing changes to, familiar landmarks, that old Archambault store downtown.
Exactly. That news hit about the Empire store moving in. The skateboard and snowboard place.
Yeah.
Taking over that really iconic corner at St. Catherine and Barrie. That definitely marks a shift, doesn't it, for the retail scene right there?
Big time.
You have to wonder, how's that going to change the feel of that block? Will it bring in a different crowd?
It's the end of one era, start of another, for sure. Okay, on the infrastructure side, the reports also mention a new level crossing, Melaille Montreal area. That sounds maybe a more practical, but just as important.
Oh, absolutely. It is. This agreement with Canadian Pacific Railway, CP, to build a new crossing, it's really about safety and traffic flow.
Right.
Especially in that part of the city, which has seen so much development recently. It's a classic example of infrastructure having to catch up with urban growth.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of growth, Ile-de-Sire adopted a special urban planning plan, a PPU, for the northern part. Can you break down what that means, a PPU?
Sure. A PPU, or Special Urban Planning Plan, is basically a detailed blueprint for how a specific zone should develop in the future.
Okay.
For northern Ile-de-Sire, the goal is to create this really cohesive environment for living, for working. But the key things here are integrating sustainable development.
Mm-hmm. Thinking long term.
Exactly. Optimizing mobility, so how people get around easily, and adding new housing, crucially, while also trying to protect the island's, history and natural spots.
That sounds like a tricky balancing act.
It always is. Balancing progress with preservation.
Right. Before we totally leave urban development, the Infodrones also touched on something I think lots of people wonder about. Land availability. How much space is actually left in Montreal and the suburbs? It seems like there are some myths floating around.
Yes. The reports do suggest that maybe we need to sort of deconstruct some common ideas about land.
Interesting.
It would be really interesting to dig into what those specific myths are and what the data actually shows. Maybe something for another time, looking deeper into those archives.
Definitely put a pin in that. Okay, let's pivot to something that's generally positive, making the city greener. Mount Royal Park, there's some encouraging news there.
Absolutely. The greening efforts for Mount Royal, which got a boost from COP15 happening here.
Right, I remember that.
It's a pretty significant project.
Yeah.
The aim is really to boost biodiversity in the park, create more green areas for everyone.
So not just planting trees.
No, it's more than that. Planting trees, yes, but also actively restoring natural areas that may be degraded over time,
Yeah.
and even creating better access points to the park. It's a long-term vision for one of our crown jewels.
That's great to see, that kind of investment, and maybe on a smaller scale, but still important new secure bike lockers on Fleury Street. That seems like a really practical step for sustainable transport.
Exactly. Providing secure spots for, what, 6 bikes each?
Yeah.
At a busy spot like Fleury and Chambord, that just makes cycling a bit easier, a more viable choice for people.
Reduces one barrier.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Small change, potentially big impact on encouraging people to bike more.
And speaking of innovation and sustainability, I found this fascinating. The vertical farm in Ahunsik, growing strawberries year-round in an old textile factory.
Isn't that cool? It really is. It just speaks
Yeah.
volumes about creative ways to produce food locally. And it also highlights, sustainable real estate, giving old buildings a completely new green purpose. Plus, fresh local strawberries in February. Who wouldn't want that?
Hard to argue with. And it's also good to see our schools leading the way. Cégep de Saint-Laurent getting that excellence mention from Cégep Verdi Quebec for the 16th year running.
Yeah, 16 consecutive years for 2023-2024. That's remarkable.
It really is.
It just shows that eco-responsibility, eco-citizenship, it's really baked into their culture. It's not just a one-off project. It's this sustained effort over decades, really. Truly commendable.
Absolutely. Okay, shifting gears a bit now to the real estate market. The Infodrone pubs suggested a change. Buyer confidence coming back late last year.
That's right. A key economic signal. When confidence returns, you usually see more activity.
Right, more buying and selling.
And as the reports suggest, often leads to prices going up, which of course brings up the whole issue of affordability.
Always the flip side, isn't it?
It is. And a study highlighted in the reports from the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives puts a pretty stark number on it.
What did it say?
Their analysis suggests you need a minimum wage of $20.30 an hour. And that's based on working 40 hours a week and spending no more than 30% of your income on rent.
The standard metric.
Yeah, the standard benchmark, just to afford a basic 4.5 apartment in Greater Montreal. It really underscores the economic pressure many people are under.
Wow. Yeah, that $20.30 figure really frames the whole affordability discussion, gives it a concrete number. Okay, moving to the cultural side of things. Montreal is getting a pretty special new center, apparently.
Yes, and what's really notable about this one, this upcoming cultural center, is its unique focus. It's set to be Canada's first center specifically dedicated to celebrating diverse cultures.
Oh, interesting.
It promises to be this incredibly inclusive space, for sharing, for discovering global cultural traditions. But right here in our city, it feels like a big step for intercultural understanding, community building.
That sounds fantastic. Great news for the city's cultural life. And for people looking at the bigger picture, like innovation, the economy, C2MTL is back in May.
Yep, the 14th edition, C2MTL. It's happening May 20th to 22nd down at the Grand Quay of the port.
Always a big event.
It is. It brings together some really influential people from all sorts of industries. They talk about, reshaping the economy, new trends. Having it here really cements Montreal's reputation as a hub for that kind of thinking.
For innovation, yeah. So this has been quite a tour through the February Infodrone highlights for Montreal and the area. If you listening want to dig deeper into any of this, where should you go?
Right. So the full reports, the complete Infodrone publications, they're all available. Just head to the library section on the Wiki Residence website.
Yeah.
You can easily read them on your phone, tablet, computer, whatever works.
And it's worth remembering, right, that these are updated daily, but they're only kept for a limited time.
That's key. They keep the publications current, but also keep the webpage from getting overloaded.
Yeah.
So yeah, checking back regularly is the best way to stay truly up to date.
Good tip.
Absolutely. And another useful thing if you have specific interests, the website lets you filter. You can sort by date, by theme, like sustainability or real estate, by area, or even by keywords. So you can really customize the information you see.
Perfect. So in our deep dive today, we've really covered a lot from, how our public spaces are changing.
The green initiatives.
Yeah, the push for sustainability, the real estate dynamics, that unique new cultural center coming. It really paints a picture of a city that's, constantly changing.
It does. And it makes you think, doesn't it? How do all these different pieces connect? Like, how will these new squares or parks actually shape community life over time?
Mm-hmm.
Or what's the combined impact of all these little green steps going to be? Those are the kinds of questions that pop up when you look at the city this way.
Exactly. Well, we hope this has given you a useful snapshot of what was happening in Montreal back in February. Definitely check out the Wiki Residence website. Explore those full Infodrone publications if something sparked your interest.
Yeah, there's always more detail when you dig in yourself.
Absolutely. Take the deep dive.